With forces like this to contend with, humble parent Greg Beattie took on his local council in an anti-discrimination case when his unvaccinated children were refused entry to a council childcare centre. He and Dr. Scheibner, as expert witness, brought in mountains of evidence from orthodox medical literature of the ineffectiveness and harmfulness of vaccines. So what happened?
I was up against the Maroochy Shire Council. They had a policy of excluding unvaccinated children from their childcare centres. Now, as you probably know, there are no laws in Australia saying that you have to have your children vaccinated. You're free to choose whether or not you want to vaccinate them. And there are no penalties for those who don't vaccinate their children, although at the moment it would appear to some people there are penalties. The fact is, if you're a conscientious objector, you can get around those penalties. The Commissioner, in his judgment, which was a 19-page document, addressed our evidence in one sentence. He said, "It is simply impossible to address the evidentiary material submitted by Dr. Scheibner and Mr. Beattie." On the other hand, the three witnesses for the council, the experts who were accepted as experts by the Commissioner, didn't submit any evidence apart from their opinion. And they were the ones who were believed.
It is interesting to note the words in court of one of the medical experts when Greg asked him for evidence of a claim he made. He said, "I don't have any figures because it's such a fundamental doctrine of holy writ in medicine." Keep that in mind next time you're told anything without a reference to an orthodox medical journal article.
There's a whole lot of fear being used to promote vaccination. I mean, and to me it's just crazy. I mean, we've got a lot of children, and they're very healthy, very strong, robust.
This concept of the unvaccinated child, the child of a parent who chooses not to vaccinate, as somehow a typhoid Mary, is just rubbish. It is plain, straight out rubbish. Of the children who are said to have died of whooping cough at the moment, it's even hard to find out about that because these are not reported deaths in any way that's possible to assess. But of those children, not one of them has had a proven association with an unvaccinated child.
So much for Greg and his wife's rights. But what are your rights where you live? Fortunately, the situation in Maroochy in Queensland is not at all what is most common in Australia. In New South Wales, the school must ask for an immunisation status certificate, but you don't have to supply one. Even the certificate itself only indicates the immunisation status. The unvaccinated child may still, however, be sent home during an outbreak. Similar laws apply in Victoria and South Australia. Also, regarding overseas travel, many people often believe that certain vaccines are compulsory when in fact they're not.